Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am here today with Evie, Eris, and Naeem. And today we have a very, very good episode, okay? It is kind of our first episode that we're doing a theme around this topic. The international break is coming up. We are going to be doing a national team and international power ranking today, okay? So what that essentially means is we've compiled our own individual lists, 1 to 10. I don't know, you can do it based off of form if you want. You can do it based off the quality you think, potential, future potential. We're going to discuss how we did it. This is going to be very interesting. I believe we have 17 teams in total. We have 2 teams that are joined 7th, and then we also have a joint 2nd, unfortunately, okay? Let's start off with honorable mention. The only team that ended up only with 1 point, this is the only team, was Switzerland. The only man that had Switzerland in at 10th was Evie.
Bro, I'm just repping Albania as like cousins, bro. But
Man,
listen,
it's true. That's
listen, how many
crazy.
times are we gonna say they're the underdogs or like the most underrated team in every competition, right? We gotta give them some recognition even at 10th. They always beat a big team.
Yeah, but
They always like actually put up a good fight.
if you look at the most recent, like, because we don't have much to base it off of, especially with like tournament wise. Nations League, they were dead last in their group, for example. That's the only thing we can kind of base things off of right now.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't give a fuck about no Nations League.
Nobody does, but
bullshit.
nobody. It's just a friendly tournament, but still.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think they're an underrated team, and I was basing it off like kind of like predicting them in future tournaments as well. But
Yeah.
I don't think anyone cares about Nations League, which is why they're probably not focusing on that as well. But you just know they're always gonna pull up to the next competition and put up a fight.
Our next honorable mentions, there were actually 4 teams that ended up in 2 points, okay? The first team is Belgium. The second team is Croatia. The third team is Ivory Coast. And the fourth team is Ecuador. Evie had Belgium in at 9th. He was the only one. Croatia, I had Croatia in at 9th. I was the only one. Ivory Coast was Naeem. He had them at 9th. And Ecuador was Eris, who had them in at 9th. Bro, I feel like Ivory Coast is the biggest surprise on the list, personally. So I'll let you start off. Why'd you have Ivory Coast in there?
They're the defending AFCON champions, man. I wanted to give a shout out to that tournament for despite what Jamie Carragher's saying about how bad it is or whatever. No, they have a solid team, man. Just like if you look at their squad, obviously Frank Kessier is their captain. There's a pretty strong squad. I think they like give some European countries a run for their money. I thought they had a great AFCON, so I wanted to give a shout out to that part of the world.
They're always like overlooked, like African and Asian nations, right? So
Yeah. Ecuador, why'd you have them in there?
I based it basically off of like the most recent form that I could find, and if you look at Ecuador, the past I think it was 6 games. Their only blemish was like a loss to Brazil in the World Cup qualifiers. They've held their own. They beat Colombia. They drew with Uruguay. They had wins against, I think it was Bolivia and another draw somewhere else. They're 4th in World Cup qualifiers right now, tied with Colombia. They're 4th on goal difference. I think they have less goal difference. So they've been like a steady form, and I feel like they're going to be a team to like watch out for.
I know what kind of man you are. You're trying to get the Latinas.
Bro, stop exposing.
Mr. Torta.
But no, like just in general, though, like Ecuador's been on decent form. So
Evie, you had Belgium in there.
Yeah, talent's there. They always got like incoming good talent. They just can't perform, right? So I mean, to be honest, that the placement between like 7th spot or like even like 8th spot and like 10th, you can put pretty much any like upcoming team there.
Croatia, shout out to our Balkan brothers. We have a good relationship with Croatia. So I think honestly they have a solid foundation and they do fairly well in the last few competitions, I would say. They're very tough to beat. It's always a challenge to get against them, in my opinion. So those were our honorable mentions, like I said. So we are going to be starting off 10th spot, but we do have a couple of joints in there. Technically, I guess 10th with 3 points. Only one person had this team in there, so I will let them talk about them. Another African nation. It was Morocco. Naeem was the only one that had them in. He had them in at 8th.
They're an up-and-coming team, as we all saw in the World Cup. They kicked out Portugal. Who would have thought that? Morocco really going to kick out Portugal. Even, look, Hakim Ziyech, obviously he isn't the main man of the team anymore. He's had disputes with the board and this and that, but they're still like performing without a star player like Hakim. That's a young core that's coming up. I think they'll be in the World Cup coming up too. So I just think give it a shout out to Morocco, especially as a huge result for their country in the World Cup. Again, another shout out to like that part of the world kind of gets overlooked. So
2 like my favorite nations from AFCON, bro, Morocco and Algeria. Like anytime I watch them play, like I love watching them play. It's just, and now I feel kind of guilty that I don't have any in my top 10.
No, great shout out for Morocco, bro. I was thinking about like African teams, and I forgot about Morocco. If I had to pick one, I would probably put Morocco in there. Shit. I hope no African mans are watching this because they're gonna roast at least 3 of us. Naeem has the African supporters now, bro.
No, I should have put
I would
Morocco.
have had Morocco ninth. Now that I think about it,
Bro,
Yeah,
no,
same.
Morocco is like class, and like I said, the 2022 World Cup. The reason I love them, bro, they knocked out Portugal because everybody's like, oh, we want to see a Messi Ronaldo final. I'm here like, I don't care, bro. I'm watching the World Cup. I don't care about Messi and Ronaldo. I want to see the best
that
teams
little
play.
girl that was crying, that was like saying, "Oh, Ronaldo, who's crying now?"
This
Oh
way
yeah, bro.
airport.
Yeah, this way airport, brother. She was a star.
We are going to 9th, okay? Only one person had this team in their list as well with 5 points. It is none other than Ragazzi Italia, Italy. Only Eris had.
Oh, what?
Only Eris
I'm
had.
the only one.
Yeah,
That's
you
crazy.
are the.
Oh, have you watched an Italy game?
You had them in at 6th.
Yeah, I had them pretty high, but the reason, like I
That's
said,
high.
I based it on literally recent form. The only thing we had to judge off of, because I can't go back to like the Euros.
What,
I
they
can't go
beat
back
Albania. That's it.
in the Nations League, bro. They beat France 3-1 that one fucking game, bro. Again, I
Nations
know
League hype, bro. It's crazy.
that's the only thing we have right now. That and
Who else
World
they
Cup
got in that
qualifier.
group? They
France,
got one other team in
Belgium,
that group.
France and Belgium, bro. So you're 9th. They slapped them up, made them look like trash, right? Look, I'm not saying Italy are a great team, but they have talent and they have
Yeah.
potential.
I wouldn't say they have talent, to be honest. They don't really have.
Now they have a few good players, bro.
They have talent, bro. They have
Barella,
talent.
Tonali,
DeMarco,
Yeah, that's it.
Bastoni, bro.
Bastoni, Di Marco.
Wait, hold on. Also,
That's
Donnarumma,
good.
when he plays for Italy, is good. Like we said in the goalkeeper list. When he plays for Italy, he's good. When he plays for PSG, he doesn't know what a ball is, but that's a different story.
They don't have any attacking threat, bro.
Like I said, I didn't think no one else would have him. I thought maybe people would have him like 9th or 10th, but
I'll be
no one
honest with you,
has
bro.
him
I did
crazy.
like when I was doing mine, I was just thinking about like potential, basically. Like I
No,
wasn't
that's
thinking
true,
about
yeah.
like the past results or anything like that when I did mine personally. So maybe
Fair.
that's why.
Yeah, no, I literally just went with like the most recent results to like see kind of who's in form because that's what
Yeah.
we do usually when we do teams, right? So I was like, all right, power ranking. I'll just go based off the results. Like,
Bro, I'm an
Yeah.
Italy fan, and like, there's nothing to look forward to until like there's some good attacking talent.
From 9th, we are going to 8th. This team finished with 7 points. And that team is, surprisingly, unsurprisingly, the team that actually holds the most World Cups, Brazil. I had Brazil in there at 7. Evie had Brazil in there at 8. Eris did not have Brazil, and Naeem did not have Brazil in there.
my thing is based off of recent form, but Brazil
Okay,
are not
yeah.
looking so hot in the qualifiers. There was a point where they were struggling to pick up points, and then people were like, oh, they might not. I mean, they're gonna qualify. Obviously, like there's 5 or 6 that come out of South America now because the increase in the tournament size. But like, there's a point where we were looking at them and like, damn, this is not Brazil. This is like mid. So I couldn't
Yeah.
justify putting them in the top 10. Like if they pick up form, which I hope they do, because like obviously I'm not a Brazil fan. I don't care for them, but like you want to see a strong Brazil. It's always fun. It's always entertaining. So like hopefully they do pick up form, and then like when we get to like the World Cup next year, when we do another power ranking, we can have them in there. But right now, I just didn't see it.
This is the worst Brazil team we've seen past 10 years. That's just the truth. They shot the bet against Colombia, and then the World Cup performance shambolic. They're not performing, and I think they set the bar was like this high, and then now what they're doing is it's not reminiscent of Brazil of back in the day.
Well, I had them a bit low because on form as well. Brazil is an amazing team of like individual players. They have a lot of good talent, and the thing about them is like the next 17-year-old is just creeping around the corner. Like the next prodigy is always going to come in Brazil, right? The reason for that form might also be due to like the tactics and the coaches. Like I know there was a lot of like behind the scenes talk about Ancelotti as well, right? So like I don't think they've been set on like a coaching system. I would expect them to actually pick up form again, and you have like the best players at attack. Probably going to have a lot bigger of a talent pool to choose from to complete the rest of the team, especially with like the younger players, like I said. So yeah, I think they're going to be good again very soon.
They've been without Neymar for the last year or so, right? Because of injuries. And this is when they've been complete and utter shit. The thing with Neymar is he's kind of like Messi in a way to like the Brazilian team. You know how like the
Like an icon type of way.
Yeah, exactly. You know how the Argentinian players like they'll grind
They
out
want to
for
win for them, bro. They
Yeah,
wanna win.
exactly. They have a lot of talent, bro. On paper, they have a lot of talent.
Yeah,
I think
they're scary regardless, bro. They're always going to be like an insane team.
we are going to be moving to 7th. We have 2 teams that are joint in 7th. We are going to be sticking to South America, though. Okay, with 9 points, we have both Uruguay and Colombia. I had Uruguay in. I had them in at 10th. Naeem had Uruguay in at 7. Evie did not have Uruguay in, and Eris had Uruguay in at 7. Eris, I know you're a big fan of Uruguay, so I'll let you start off with them.
Yes, sir. My favorite South American nation. They produce some of the best strikers ever. My boy Cavani, your boy Suarez. You know, they've been putting up a fight, and they've been giving a fight to both Argentina and Brazil in the qualifiers. Colombia as well. They've just been on like decent form, and we're gonna see them qualify for the World Cup. I don't have a doubt about that. It's just like I said, the recent form, like the games they've beaten both the big two in South America. So I feel like that kind of merits a discussion in like the top 10.
Honestly, I just don't rate them that highly. I know they went to the finals of the Copa, right? I don't follow them
No.
that well.
Oh no, wait, who went
No,
to
it
the
was
final?
Colombia.
It was Colombia, yeah.
James.
Oh, it's Colombia? Okay, yeah. Honestly, yeah, if anything, I'd rate Colombia more, but I didn't have them either. Uruguay's team is not that like outstanding on paper. Yeah, they just didn't stick out to me compared to the other 10 teams that I had.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Uruguay, though. Like, on paper, they don't really stand out, but then when you watch them play, like, it's just like heart, passion, and grinta.
Yeah, but at least like even back then they always had like some crazy players that would like pull
But
through
like
them, right?
even
Like,
now though, you think you got like Valverde, who like you can slot him in midfield. Madrid did it at right back, and they got like a decent like game out of this. Like
yeah.
I feel like he's like one of the big names right now. Like obviously, I know what you mean. Like they don't have that like Cavani, Suarez, the Godin, the
Yeah, like, they
Jimenez,
had
all
like a
that.
crazy
They don't have
partnership
that,
up top,
but
right?
yeah, but like I feel like you don't necessarily need big star power to think. Like they're
Who are their defenders though?
Araujo.
Araujo
Araujo's-
and
Araujo,
is Jimenez
Jimenez.
still
Jimenez
yeah.
is there.
It's like a decent core.
They have
Not
Araujo,
amazing.
who's a fullback as well.
And Oliveira from
That's
Napoli.
a decent team.
And then they have Bielsa as a coach as well. I don't know if you mans rate him.
Oh,
But
Bielsa,
Oh,
yeah.
I rate them, yeah.
Leeds
Yeah,
Bielsa. Good
exactly,
times.
yeah. I love that, brother.
Good times.
I think they could actually be in my top 10 and like a lower spot, but I need to see how they perform.
I had to put them in there just because like I feel like they have like some pillars in the team in terms of like Araujo in defense, Valverde, one of the best midfielders in the middle as well. From the South American teams, I feel like they're the ones who, in my opinion at least, play the most with like grinta, like you said, like they're dogs. Like sometimes it's even WWE, bro. Like those mans are insane. I can't lie, but I enjoy it, bro. You know, it's so much fun. So
I still remember in the Copa when they lost to Colombia, and that was
Colombia,
Nunez that when the crowd started like swinging, like oh man, passion.
That's crazy, bro.
Right there.
That was crazy. Yeah, but yeah, so Uruguay and then Colombia. I did not have Colombia in. Naeem actually had Colombia in at 5. Evie did not have Colombia in, and Eris had Colombia in at 8.
I really liked their performance in the game that you guys just mentioned, the Uruguay-Colombia game. That was just all-out warfare, all-out passion, end-to-end stuff. And then they went to the final against Argentina. And by the way, like the first few minutes of that game, like they were going toe-to-toe. They were going toe-to-toe with Argentina. And then obviously, you know, it was a tight game. It wasn't by any means Argentina walked all over Colombia. They put up such a fight. I just like their performance in that Copa. I think they're doing well in World Cup qualifying as well. They're number 4. Behind Argentina, Uruguay, and Ecuador. They're going to do well in the next World Cup. But so based off like that future World Cup performance and then the performance in the Copa, I had them on 5.
Colombia's been putting up a fight with the big boys, and they play a decent style of football. So you know,
I'm honestly just not educated enough in like Latin America, but I would take out maybe Belgium and Switzerland out of my list and put them too.
bro,
Crazy,
you're
bro.
losing the Latina vote, bro. You're losing
The
Latina
tortas,
vote.
bro. That's all you
The
need.
Tortas don't want you, bro. That's crazy.
Crazy.
Redemption arc starts now.
I felt like I had to choose between Colombia and Uruguay, and I just opted for them, basically. They were into my honorable mentions, though, Colombia. So at number 6, we have 13 points. We have Amarali's team. We have the Netherlands, okay? So I had Netherlands in at 8. Naeem had Netherlands at 6. Evie also had them at 6. Eris actually did not have Netherlands in there, now that I look at it. Damn.
Honestly, like they were an honorable mention for me. I don't know, because I was looking all over the place, and I was thinking, I'm like, I don't want to be too biased, because there's a team that I put in 10th that I absolutely hate, but I put them because I didn't want to like put the bias in there. It was between them and Netherlands, and I was just looking at like kind of recent form. I don't know, they seem kind of like shaky. They don't seem like, I don't want to say good enough, but they don't seem, they're not proving it to me that they deserve to be like top 10. I feel like if you put them against any of the teams in my top 10, they will lose or struggle to get a draw depending on which team it is. So I don't know, I just don't feel like they're in form right now, and I mean, I'd love to be proven wrong. Hopefully they come back again and do something crazy.
Yeah, I just think they've been doing so well. They've always like been historically amazing. It looks like they're picking up form again. Best center back in the world is in that team. Good midfielders like Gravenberg doing good. Reinders, you know, he's amazing. The only thing holding them back is Coman, because he plays a very rigid style of play where like you kind of like want to avoid that individual like creativity when he plays. But they also like put up those performances, right? Like they put up those like strong defensively sound performances. Their games are not always fun to watch just because like he plays so rigid. I'm sure you've
Mhm.
seen that at Barca too, right? Again, when you've seen
Yeah.
like kind of like shithouse games. So
Yeah, we were ninth with that, brother, bro, before Xavi came in.
Yeah, I was choosing between them and Germany, but I went with the Netherlands because I think they have just a young and upcoming core. If they band together, I think they're going to put up a decent performance in the next World Cup, so that's the reason I had them there. I obviously a little bit of bias because the Dutch history in Milan and Thierry Reinders, so I went with the Netherlands over Germany.
Honestly, on paper, I think they have a solid team, bro. Good defense, good midfield. You guys forgot to mention as well Frankie de Jong, Reinders, and Xavi Simons if he comes in as a cap.
Gakpo.
Gravenberg as well,
Yeah. So they have a decent squad. I think the only thing that they lack, in my opinion, is like a proper like finisher. That's the only thing I would say.
Yeah, 100% because they're relying on Weghorst or whatever.
Weghorst, Memphis Depay, but that brother is
Yeah, they
dealing
need
with
a
the
Oh, he's
Dortmunds right
busy
now.
rapping, bro. He's busy
Yeah.
rapping.
So honestly, I would have them higher if it was for that and for the coach as well. I'm not a fan of Coleman at all. So in fifth, we have the team that Air supports, 19 points. We have England.
I thought you guys were putting
You
somewhere
thought,
else.
you thought it was someone else, yeah.
I was like, damn, y'all suck, bro.
Yeah, no. We have England in at fifth. Evie had England in at fourth. Naeem had England in at 10. Aris had England in at 10. I had England in at 1. So,
That's
You guys are
crazy.
top
What?
10?
It's like, yeah.
yeah, that's why I
first
left us for last.
Listen, no, let me talk first, and then you
Let
guys.
me tell you something. Let me tell you
can-
something.
You guys realize they were putting up performances with Southgate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now they got Thomas Tuchel, bro. He's a serial winner, bro. I'm telling you, there's gonna be a different England team now.
Yeah, I agree with that,
We'll
bro.
see. We'll see. I wanted to leave them off because you guys know I do not like England. Like they are, I still find so many of their players overrated. The thing is, I put them in 10th because they are England. They still do have the talent pool, and as you mentioned with Tuchel, like we could see something there. But my mind just went back to that pathetic loss against Greece in the Nations. I know it's the Nations League. I know we're dogging on it, but like, bro, you're struggling
Fuck the
against Greece,
Nations
brother.
League,
You're
bro.
struggling
You must
against.
be their only
You have,
viewer.
you have, brother. You have one of the most expensive and quote unquote stacked teams on paper, and you're losing to Greece. Rice had a stinker, so I was proven right, by the way, because Rice had a stinker that 2-1 loss. I don't know. I need to see more from them to be able to put them higher. Listen, I did them an honor putting them in my top 10 because I was gonna put Netherlands in and leave them out, but I was like, nah, I don't want to be a pure hater. I need to, be a little less biased.
Well, Tuchel wasn't there for Greece, bro. Tuchel hasn't.
Yeah, Tuchel wasn't. Yeah, Tuchel wasn't there for Greece.
Tuchel hasn't managed a game for them yet.
Yeah.
So
The reason I had them so low is because I thought back to like their previous performances in other tours, like you had the Iceland, the Iceland knockout in 2016, and then I just think that like the poor run of games they had in the Euros, right? Like they drew to Denmark, they drew to Slovenia, somehow got through Slovakia. We all know Slovakia should have won that game, and then obviously Switzerland took the pens. Like, come on, guys! Like with the team that what you have against these smaller minnow nations, like you can't be playing that bad. Only reason like I had them that low is because like they kind of like obviously on paper they have such a stacked team, but then they just play so shit sometimes. It's unbelievable to me.
Best aura.
yeah, bro. No, I had him first, bro. I think Tuchel's gonna make a big difference for them. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Tuchel, but I think in like cup competitions,
Yeah.
that brother is kind of elite. I can't lie, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a fan of him either, but I think he'd be perfect for like coaching nations.
On paper, in my opinion, they have the most stacked team possible. Bro.
Yeah.
Like maybe the weakness that they had before was like left back, but right now they're producing left backs as well. Skelly, Hall, like there's some proper decent talent that are coming in at left back. Maybe the one position would be goalkeeper. I'm not the biggest fan of Pickford, but Trafford is coming in as well.
Pickford is so mid.
Yeah, but Trafford's doing well. Like we'll see how he goes as well. Like obviously the only thing is like the question mark on Harry Kane, maybe like if he's still gonna be fit for like the World Cup, for example. In my opinion, you have the most stacked team and you're getting a proven coach as well. And I think he will make a big difference for them. They have potential to be like the team to beat. So that's the thing. That was England. Okay, now we are gonna go to fourth place, 1 point above England. So with 20 points, we have Deutschland. We have Germany in at fourth. Evie had Germany in at 7. Eris had Germany in at 4. I had Germany in at 2. And Naeem did not have Germany in at all. Why didn't you have them in?
Obviously, you have the world class supers like Musiala and Florian Wirtz, but really, I think what they lack is the aging defense and the midfield. I'm not a fan of, and then they don't really have a striker. So that's just like those three things. Like I was taking into consideration. Like I just wouldn't want to put them in there because Fulkrug doesn't really inspire me as like an out and out 9. And then the midfield, you have Ilkay Gundogan and then Joshua Kimmich, who are both aging in that midfield department. And then defense, I would say same thing. Jonathan Tah's not the youngest, and then you have Rudiger, who's also aging. Neuer is also aging. It's just like an aging group that they're gonna have their shortcomings, and those weaknesses will be exposed in the next World Cup. That's just why I didn't have them.
Put up some solid performances in the past, and then also if we go back to the Euros, like they were very unlucky to get knocked out by Spain. That Cucurella handball, I don't know, it's still debatable. Like
I think he
we'll
was
see.
offside though before. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Someone was
If he was,
offside
I might be
with what I
different. But
saw
like,
after.
if he wasn't, and assuming thing like that was a hard way to get done by. Like Spain ended up winning the tournament, right? So like to put up a proper fight against the champions, like they did well. They do have, as we mentioned, like Wirtz and Musiala. Those two guys are gonna be sensational. They're gonna carry that nation. Yeah, they might be aging, but they're still like class quality defenders. You can't really take that away from them. Recent performances have been good. Like they've done pretty decently. So we'll see how they go from here. I feel like in net they might struggle because, as we said, Neuer just picked up another injury, right? And he's aging. So like Ter Stegen's dying out there. So like
Again, like they play really fun. We saw some exciting games from them, especially with Nagelsmann. I really like him as a coach.
Yeah.
I guess they are going through like a transitional phase too, where like these players are getting older and they don't have the necessary like replacements ready yet. But who knows what could happen, right? I just think. But for now, they play really fun.
Like there's some pros and cons that I see. I'm a big fan of Nagelsmann. I think that bumped them up for me personally. If he wasn't there, if it was a different coach, I would probably have them lower. I personally thought that they would have issues even going into like the Euros. And the thing is, they did pretty well to cover it up. In my opinion, they exceeded the expectations that I had for them. I don't know. I just think he's a very, very good coach. And I think regardless of maybe like the positions that they might be lacking, I feel like he comes up with solutions for them. So that's why I think they are a contender, in my opinion. Third, technically, they are fourth because we have two joint seconds, okay? 24 points. We have Portugal. Naeem had Portugal in at 4. I had Portugal in at 6. Evie had Portugal in at 5. And Eris also had Portugal in at 5.
You guys know I'm not a fan of Portugal, but some of their players, I love them. They play for my club. That talent pool is insane. Who's their coach right now? Because I don't remember who it was. Roberto Martinez. Oh my God,
Yeah,
no!
Martinez,
I hate
yeah.
Roberto Martinez.
Oh,
though.
Martinez, yeah.
He's the reason why Belgium failed. No,
That's
offense.
why.
Like, he's-
That's why I had them relatively low.
Yeah, I had him 5th. Honestly, I see a huge potential and like good future for Portugal.
Like once they get a better coach, we're gonna see a better team. Another crazy shout is once Ronaldo stops playing, I think they'll actually become a way better team because you're gonna get the attention away from him.
I do feel bad though for Ronaldo. Like I said, if he was like in his prime, like now, he was like early 30s playing with this team, it could be deadly. It could be
Bro,
deadly.
any man that wants to take pens and free kicks like that, like all the time, like
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That's just
like, you
selfish.
can
But
tell
like at
in
this
the
point,
locker room, like he wants to like still be the star, right? So
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how Portugal can just casually throw on names like Bernardo Silva, Pedro Neto, just off the bench like that. That talent pool is insane. So
it'd be cool to see Jose Mourinho.
oh
coach.
yeah, we
that
all
would
want that,
be-
man. We
that
all
would be
want
a
Jose Mourinho to be
dream.
managing Portugal at
That'd
some
be a
point.
dream.
In terms of the talent pool, honestly, probably one of the best. Martinez, I don't rate him as a coach, bro. That's the one thing. The second thing is Ronaldo as well. They would be better off without Ronaldo. His ego is insane. Like to be taking those free kicks when, like, let's be honest here, that brother hasn't taken a proper free kick since God knows when.
If he was coming off the bench, fine, I'd understand. But
Yeah.
he's forcing himself to start, right? Like you can tell that team is catered to him, right? But it shouldn't be.
We are going to go into second. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, we have two teams that came in at second. 33 points. First team is Argentina, and the second team is France. Evie had Argentina in at 2. Eris had Argentina in at 3. Naeem had Argentina in at 1. I had Argentina in at 5.
Man, defending World Cup champions, defending Copa champions, and they have Lionel Andres Messi Cucutini as well. They had this really good run of games where they just weren't losing. I think I was reading this one stat. I don't know specifically what it was, but they just kept winning and winning. It was like,
Yeah, they broke the record.
yeah, they broke the record. So they're just like those 3 reasons. I had to have them like as the number 1 team in the world. Attack, midfield, defense. Like it's the goalkeeper Martinez. Like it's all in harmony. It's all in sync. They're a band of brothers. You're ready to die for each other. You have like the tunnel pictures and DePaul kind of sniffing Messi's ass, but just nothing more to add.
I mean, defending world champs, amazing team. I think without Messi now, like he was a huge glue with like his playmaking abilities, but from now on they're just gonna get progressively worse until someone else steps up.
Like I said, recent performances as well. They're topping the South American table for World Cup qualifying and comfortably too. They think they're 5 points ahead of second. If Messi plays and Messi doesn't play, like they still have a really decent squad. They might start to like slightly regress. I don't know how like well they're gonna do in their defense in 2026. We'll see how that plays out. But they're still a good squad. They still have the talent pool. They still have the mentality, the determination, the grit. Like they're gonna still show up regardless of if Messi's there, if Messi's not.
If we're going based off of like performance, they're number 1, undisputed, bro. They're the second team to do like back to back in terms of like Copa World Cup,
Mhm.
Copa. Spain was the only one that did Euros, World Cup, Euros, right? So the only thing for me is like Messi is a huge part of that team, bro. He would tear it up in Europe still, in my opinion, based off of the qualities that he has. When he plays for Argentina, for example, you can still see that he has like that quality. I've never been like the biggest fan of their team overall. I just think they have a lot of like grinta, and they fight for the badge and fight for Messi. But in terms of like a technical level, I'm not.
They don't really have any like creativity other than Messi if you think about it.
Yeah, and
Also,
they lost Di
Di
Maria as
Maria.
well.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I probably should have had him a bit lower because I remember Di Maria's retired from international football
Yeah,
now.
so
It's like
that
you
was a
lose
big thing
that.
for
That's
me as
one of the
well.
main mans. So
Yeah, Di
Like
Maria
all
was
their
clutch.
midfielders are box to box guys,
Kind
like
of.
physical guys, right?
Yeah, they have
yeah,
Echerevi, who's coming up. City got him right now, right? If Echerevi comes in, he does well, maybe. But I don't think they have proper wingers, in my opinion. Like
Well,
Garnacho.
technically, they've never like been good apart from Messi or Di Maria, right? So
If Messi doesn't keep up with his performance, like I think it's gonna be tough for them, bro. Very,
yeah,
very tough. So Alvarez, Messi, and Emi Martinez are the three players that I would say like I rate them like heavy in terms of
I
that
don't
team.
like Lautaro, bro. It's crazy.
right. He's
Lautaro?
not good for Argentina though.
Now France. Naeem had them in at third. Evie had them in at third. I had them in at fourth. Eris had them in at one. Shocker.
Outside of maybe England, we're the most stacked team. There is like they lost like the striker in Giroud, who's a good target man, and kind of like that's how Mbappe works well with. But Griezmann's still doing pretty well with Atleti.
He retired.
Kicking about. Did he retire from national?
From
Oh, I
France,
might have
yeah,
missed
he
that.
did.
I might have missed that. Yes, he did. You're right. Regardless, the upcoming talent pool, right? We still got like crazy young talents coming up. I know you don't like when I say I rate Chouameni and Camavinga, but they're
No,
my
I
boys
rate
at the-
Chouameni more than Camavinga personally, but
That's
I just
fair,
don't
that's
rate
fair,
them
that's
as much as my man.
That's
but,
fair.
yeah.
No, I know that's fair. That's totally fair. They're crazy talented. And Camavinga, I love him because he's so versatile. You can slot him in midfield, slot him at left back. He just gets the job done. We'll see how it goes. Again, Deschamps, I'm not the biggest fan of anymore. I know like he's been there for forever. Like his tactics in 2018 were great. Those tactics worked then. I don't know how his tactics are gonna work in going forward, but we'll see. To me, they're still the best. So
They're set. Deschamps, I think, is the biggest weakness. This last tournament, like he did kind of show more technical flexibility. So if he's more open to like improving the game like that, I mean, they're always going to compete. They're a powerhouse, right? Like their talent is insane.
Wait, this last tournament where they barely had a goal from open play?
No, wasn't
The
it?
Euros?
the Euros,
yeah.
the Euros, they were
The Euros, they
struggling,
were trash,
man.
bro. They barely had a
Yeah.
goal from open play. They only scored
Yeah.
pens.
Yeah,
We
when
still made it to
they-
the semis, which was crazy. But,
Yeah.
like, doing
I remember
nothing.
for the longest time, you had own goals and pens. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he finally stopped playing like the players that he always played, though. Because remember,
Oh
he,
yeah.
he barely played Maignan, right?
Yeah,
So
Yeah, he that was another thing that was annoying with Deschamps. Like he's stuck to like his certain group of players. He needs
yeah,
to
like he
kinda,
always
like,
brought in the same old guys, even though like
Yeah.
they weren't
Yeah.
playing, right? So
he needs to
I like that he was more open to bringing in like fresh faces. Like again, maybe if he's open to translating that on the pitch better, but
No, I'm just a huge fan of the defense, man. Just like, Mike Maignan is one of the best keepers in the world. You have the best right back in the world in Koundé. You have Saliba and Konate, two of the best center backs in the world as well. Theo Hernandez, best left back in the world, I think. And then you have Kylian Mbappe up top. I just think that team on paper is people, even the neutral man. Even you talk to a neutral about like these names and they know who they are. Like there's going to be viewership for France games, and I think like they're going to do well. And they always have an up and coming core. Like I was looking at this the squad depth chart like a few years ago. It's like France have enough good players like to stack like 5 different lineups.
Yeah. I remember.
It's mad, and just based off that, like they're gonna have depth if Deschamps is flexible enough to go into it.
In terms of the talent pool, they're up there with England, in my opinion. Bro, the only thing is I was never the biggest fan of Deschamps, me personally. I never really liked him. It's just the way that I view it. On paper, they have a very, very solid team. Griezmann retired. I don't know who's gonna like take his spot for the creativity. I mean, Cherky is maybe one man that could. They had a stacked team at the Euros, and they were probably, in my opinion, one of the underperformers, bro, overall.
Mhm.
Like, I remember in the chat, we were saying, yo, these mans are terrible to watch.
We're
Based
trying
off
to
of
figure
that,
out who was worse, England or France, like to watch.
Yeah.
It was boring on both ends.
yeah, like
The
these
two
mans.
best teams, worst to watch.
So, number one, boys, I think you can all assume. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you don't remember the names that we went
Zimbabwe.
North Korea.
Great North Korea for your shop. 36 points. So 3 points above France and Argentina, the team that I support basically in national teams. And the Euro champions, we have España. Spain, Aris had them in at second. Naeem had them in at second. I had them in at third. Evie had them in at one. Those brothers, I love them, man. I absolutely love Spain. Like I think, especially the emerging talent that they have, so good, bro. So good. I don't think necessarily maybe as good as France and England as of right now, but they're up there for sure. I know they won the Euros, and I know they played great. However, I am still not 100% convinced or certain about the manager, De La Fuente. The only thing is so De La Fuente, his career, he literally didn't manage like a proper team or anything like that. He was basically with the youth teams in Spain, and he went up all the way. So it is a pro because he kind of knows everyone in and out. He doesn't have that much experience, so I kind of want to see how they do in another major tournament for me to kind of like have like a set opinion on them, on the coach. Other than that, bro, yeah, they're up there. The way that they played the best footy by far at the Euros. Like, we all fell in love with the footy that they played, the amount of talents that they had. They have the best youngster in the world. Rodri, depends how he recovers from ACL as well, right? You never know with that. They have the youngsters as well as CB duo, right? With Dean Huijsen and Kubarsi.
Asensio from Madrid, he's coming up too. So
Yeah.
Brother, go to prison, bro. Don't worry.
Yeah, they're probably going to prison FC, bro, potentially. But but yeah, that's what I had to say about
Every game that I watched them play, they played so fun, and they were scoring a lot of goals too. I love how young they are, and they're not very like egotistic too. Like, they're a quiet team that always overperforms, right? So, and I like the coach too. I like that he's not like a name that we know, because I don't think he has that pressure as well, right? Like, and I think you can tell like he wasn't like this type of guy that was in the big lights. Like, I think we're gonna see a lot more talent coming in too. I know like La Liga has a lot of good young talent, like Spanish talent. I mean, it's up to how they do in the Nations League according to Eras. So if they win the Nations League,
they topped their group, bro. That's why they topped their group.
They're current champions, of the Nation League.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. The current champion, they topped their group. They had an easy ride, bro. But also, no, with the Nations League, the reason why it's important now is because of the fact that you can earn your spot in the World Cup through the playoffs. You don't even have to go through qualification. So that's why I'm like, it's kind of important.
Bro, I'm agree with you. Ain't nobody watching that shit.
Fair enough, bro. Damn.
Crazy.
Not much to say. You guys mentioned pretty much everything where it comes to like their talent pool, a young crop of talents. Nico and Lamine were amazing on the wings. They were interchangeable. They're beautifully playing. And as you said, in the back line now, you're going to have the Kubarsis, the Asensios, if he doesn't stay out of prison, and Huijsen, who I love at Bournemouth. Like, he's one of my favorite youngsters at Bournemouth right now.
Rodri got subbed off, I think, at halftime, right, in that game. And
he was injured, yeah.
He had Zubi Mendy come on, and then he put in a shift. So like, that young core is developing. Alex Bayan, as well as Iris mentioned, he's always like leading the charts in chance creation. Pau Kubarsi, Dean Huijsen, like Jet mentioned.
Even Olmo, bro. Even Olmo's amazing.
Almost cooking too. Like, he did so well at tournament.
Going into the game, you had all these English fans in the media saying, "Oh, England's going to walk over Spain. You know, Spain don't have a chance. Or we're going to do this and that." And then next, Spain didn't say a word. They played their game, and just like, that was why I had just like Spain number 2. Just like the fact they shut England up. And like, how the English fans are just so obnoxious. They think they're teams like the world. That's just why I love Spain so much. Like, they just chat on England, and
that's why we love Italy and Spain, bro. Back to back, doing it against England.
Yeah,
the Mediterranean mans are saving footy, eh?
Bro, 2026. I need to see, like, I don't know, whoever comes up against England, but I need to see that Chiellini like yank on Saka again.
Like you said, they play as a team, bro. I really, really love it. They're unselfish, That's the thing. And in terms of technical quality, I don't think there's a nation that touches them in terms of technical quality. Me personally, they are unstoppable when they have the ball at their feet. So Spain is our number 1 power rankings national teams. There you guys have it. That is our power ranking, international power ranking. The first video that we've done like this. Like we said, Spain was in at number 1, followed by France and Argentina at joint second. Different lists, I would say. There were some honorable shouts there. We know that Naeem is going to be much, much loved if we have any African fans of the channel, bro. He's the only one that repped you, man. So, much love to Naeem for that. And then we have some Torta mans in here as well that were repping them,
Repping South America, you already know.
Yeah, but like I said, that was it. Let us know what you guys think of this episode. Let us know if you guys want us to do any other lists or something like that. We will be doing another international one in a couple of months or so. From everyone from Footy Gents, we will see you guys on the next episode. Until then, take care.